the one where that mid laner becomes very self-sufficient. They can take care of themselves. They can dodge ganks easily with the mobility, but you can even play around that mid lane here. And with the Sejuani alongside it, that means that Ryu may have to take cleanse very early on in this matchup, because that combination becomes one where you can constantly kill the enemy mid laner with that engage range that's available to the two.
All right, going into the second part of the draft now, it's top and support that's yet to be picked for both sides here, so expect that to obviously be where the bans are going to go. We already talked about seeing some support bans, some targeting towards that Tahm Kench from Thieves. They'll also take Morgana off the table while Liquid gets rid of Cho'Gath and Thresh.
Yeah, and we've talked so much about the bottom lane that the top lane kind of has not shown up here, and yet the tanks have been incredibly important. The Ornn as well as Cho'Gath for someday. Looks like they may be willing to just trade those, as the Cho'Gath is the only ban there from Team Liquid, so Ornn rises in priority as one of the most popular top lane tanks, especially for that team fighting.
Yeah.
But Braum is kind of the cutoff.
That's pretty big. Exactly. The Braum would stop 100 Thieves from wanting to pick that. Braum is also Aphromu's most played champion. He's got 10 games on that. His next highest is Alistar with just 3. So he has jumped around, but it's mostly about protecting Cody.
Yeah, and while the Braum Unbreakable can stop the Ornn ultimate, we've still seen so many teams be willing to pick the Ornn into it anyway, so it may very well just be the case. Insta-lock there. Your question has been answered.
Instant prediction, instant correct prediction. There you go. Kobe's able to call him. Easy peasy 1, 2, 3. To lock that one in on the side of 100 Thieves. And now we'll see what they decide to do in the support role. We talked about how that Braum was a big denial. So what do you go for instead? Aphromu still has plenty of tricks up his sleeve. Bard is one of those signature champions we get to see from him, but the Alistar, that second most played pick, that's the one they're going to lock in for game 1.
And this is a very forward-facing, offensive-looking 100 Thieves lineup here. They have tons of hard engage to play with. They also have the mid laner that has the possibility of going side lanes very early on, and the Tristana is an all-in AD carry that can look for those kills.
Yeah, great scaling as well. So playing for that late game, the 100 Thieves kind of MO that they've been operating with. And the Singe there for impact. He played this earlier up against Cloud9.
Now we're seeing why. Just the Cho'Gath ban there, trying to attack some days. Very, very prevalent in their last series. And Impact, once again, pulls out the Singed. He's put more practice in it, you would want to assume, than last time. He had the interview after that first game. He pulls out Singed. He's like, yeah, it's been a while, but, you know, it was a good counter pick.
Well, the team obviously has the faith in him to allow him to say, okay, let's go for this. Let's greenlight the Singed pick. We believe that he'll be able to pull this one off here in game number 1. And if he can, then that just creates another pick that your opponents have to be thinking about for the rest of the series.
Exactly, and the way that Singed approaches fights is not front to back. He usually will come in from the side or a flank and ruin your battle lines, have the ultimate on, wreak havoc, and against something like a Tristana, he has a grounded effect, so it can be very potent to actually get a carry thrown into your backline.
There are a lot of options with Singed, and a lot of them do depend on item builds, because he's so flexible. You can play him as a split push annoying style that everyone knows from solo queue, and we also have seen Impact build a Righteous Glory and try and charge into the backline. Exactly.
We'll see what approach he specifically wants to go for here in game number 1 up against 100 Thieves. He's got 2 big targets in Cody Sun and Ryu. They're going to be dishing out that damage that he's got to find some kind of a way onto. But when Tristana has her disengage and Ryze can trap you up in the Rune Prison, he's going to have to be picking his moments.
All right, it all comes down to this. One series is going to be the culmination of an entire split's worth of work for both of these brand new squads.
One way or the other, we are flying a new banner in the LCS Battle Arena at the end of this one. Both of these teams want to see their colors on that new flag.
And both these organizations coming into the franchise era kind of came in and tried to make a statement. They both had something to prove. For 100 Thieves, it was proof that they need to be taken seriously as a contender for the top spot. And for TL, it's proof that they're never going to let their fans down again, because those 9th place finishes shook a lot of their fans, and they said, nope, not anymore. We're making the changes that need to be made.
Yep, that's why Team Liquid just blew up the roster, put together this squad, and they have delivered the results so far. Now they're into the enemy jungle. Aphromu does see them put down the ward, though.
They'll try to clear out a little bit of that vision as 100 Thieves throw down a ward of their own at the enemy jungle on top of that spire, just to see what's going to be going around that critical junction point in enemy territory. But it looks like no one's looking to go too crazy early on here in game number 1. slight amounts of early vision, no crazy invades, just keeping an eye where they start.
It is important to notice where the junglers are hovering right now, because if the Team Liquid bottom lane is going to go for the pull, meanwhile Meteos, you can see, going to solo his own blue side start here. They're going to have very different jungle paths, as well as, look at the mini-map. Cody-Sun and Aphromoo pulling the wave right now, immediately trying to get that push down and the level 2 advantage.
Exactly, get them level 2 faster, get that push on, and so that they can actually survive this bottom lane where the Caitlyn should have a better level 1 through 4.
And that's one of the advantages that Meteos has on this Skarner. You can start without needing the leash. You can do the entire jungle by yourself if necessary because of what the Spires lend to the champion. It allows the bottom lane to then be able to have that priority.
And in Team 2, you always have to track which Spires they took in the level 1. Team Liquid were able to get the bottom side, but 100 Thieves did have that top side one, so when Meteos goes back up there, it'll be a bit easier.
And look at the numbers you just saw on the side of your screen. Double lift, 37 KDA, 4-0 so far as Caitlyn during playoffs here in 2018 spring. The man has been a monster on the pick. And Impact is really going to have to respect the damage from Someday early on here.
Yeah, speaking of a monster there, Someday dealing a decent amount of damage with the Ornn. Impact trying to heal back up though. And he does have minion dematerializers on both sides of this lane.
And you think about these two players, the last time they went up against each other, it was that new game on that patch where Someday he got Impact playing Shen into him. And then he got solo killed. And then it ended up being Impact taking over the entire game. Someday has had that in his mind because that's the one game they've lost in that second half of the split. He really wants to get Impact back for that, and you can see he's already kind of taking it to him.
Yeah, Someday definitely had, even as far as the entire season is concerned, a rough start there, but he has really had a resurgence. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, you know, Aphromoo on this Alistar is something that people associate with him, you know, just because of the name, but also he has the most Alistar games of any North American LCS player ever, career long.
And stylistically, the champion matches up so well for him. When you think about Aphromoo, you're thinking about a playmaker. You're thinking about the guy who makes things happen for the team, the one who decides, this is our engage, this is our moment, this is our fight. And Alistar's the perfect kind of a champion to enable that play style and those win conditions.
And I remember when they played against each other, Ole back in the NALCS lounge was saying he loves watching Aphromu's Alistar in scrims because he'll change whichever skin he has based on how he's feeling, what face he has. Today he's got the pink chroma, so feeling a little good right now.
Ryu feeling good about the damage he's finding onto Pobelter here in the mid lane, punishing him for being just a little bit too close to that wall. And we talked about this mid lane and how these guys have both got plenty of experience on these champions. That means one little step out of place and you are going to be punished for it.
Yeah, Ryu on the rise was able to use his push early on, get enough money for his tier, then you use your teleport back for your first teleport. It does have the reduced cooldown due to Summoner Spell, Summoner Spellbook, and now he's going for the trades that he has the tier stacking.
Exactly, but he also has the item advantage, right? So that's when you really want to take those trades, is when the other guy has a lot of gold in his pocket that he hasn't spent on items here. So even though it is just a tier, it does amp your damage on Rise. Someday, dealing a lot of damage to Impact here, and so far he's been winning this matchup.
I feel like every time we pan up towards the top lane, we just see Someday smacking Impact around a little bit. He's building up a farm lead for himself. I mean, it's nothing that we're writing home about already. It's not GG top lane's over, but Someday seems to constantly just be eking out small advantages.
Yeah, when you're playing the Singed, you typically just kind of take the L in the laning phase, and then eventually you get to proxying later, which gives you priority on backs.
Right now, though, junglers have been attracted by all the aggression in top side. Smithy's going to make his way over.
All right, Smithy in here first, finding a little bit of damage down onto Someday, who looks to get himself away. He's going to have Meteos coming on his way here in just a moment. Should break out into a full-on 2v2 here. Meteos has the Predator ready to go, but will not actually get in the thick of it. They decide to disengage and stay.
That's still really great because Someday didn't have to burn his flash there and gets to keep it.
Yeah, Meteos does arrive afterwards to even out the pressure. Smithy's still on that top side, hovering around, though, as they pop a couple of the plants. Looks like Aphromoo actually going to take a recall here in the brush. Ole and Doublelift want to punish.
Ole keeps walking up to just interrupt those backs, and this bottom lane has so far been going in favor of Team Liquid.
And right now, Doublelift and Ole having a perfect spot in front of their tower here. They're just denying Cody Sun and Aframu access, trying to take advantage of the huge range discrepancy between the two AD carries.
And usually you would call your jungler down here to help you clear this wave out and prevent a freeze, but because TL know that Meteos is on the top side, they know that's not an option.
Exactly. A lot of the threat of a Tristana-Alistar lane comes from all in. You know, the Alistar WQ combo and Tristana rocket jumping on. But without that extra pressure, there's no more bite.
You've also got to remember, Aframu, no flash down here in the bottom lane means that they're also going to be more careful on the side of 100 Thieves. That means once Aframu goes in, there's not really a way out if you do end up getting punished. Maybe somebody else is waiting around the corner. Team Liquid recognizing that, and they're able to maintain control down here. Those numbers that we read off for Doublelift's Caitlyn earlier, you don't get those kind of numbers by accident or by luck. This guy knows how to play these types of champions and be successful.
Yeah, and he's been very successful in this game right now. If you look at the CS lead that he's been able to accrue, him and Ole consistently trying to put that pressure back. Cody Sun takes another trade there. Peacemaker landing.
And this is kind of deadly here for 100 Thieves. The wave is going to slow push towards them, so you see them backing off. But then now Meteos is on the bottom side, but he is level 6 before Smithy is. So Meteos, this is the time where he would go for a gank with his flash and try to make it work.
Yeah, it's one of those Skarner advantages. Predator also should be available very soon for him as he's got his boots already. Gonna hand off the blue buff first to Ryu, and he reveals himself on this ward. So once again, when you talk about slow pushes, it provides two separate things. Like, there is an amount of pressure due to a slow push, and it threatens possible dives or threatens possible objectives elsewhere on the map while the big wave is being taken care of.
And now you've got all of Liquid rotating over here, looking to take down the first Drake. Ocean Drake #1, just about 8 minutes into the game. Seeing Meteos on the top part of the map near the blue buff, that's your green light to take them.
Yeah, Meteos is going for the enemy red buff here, and you saw Impact already pulled off of the top lane minion wave, and he just went, okay, I'm going to defend the jungle. Team effort here to try and at least track Meteos and figure out where he is, like the analyst was saying.
Ocean Drake definitely a big one for them to pick up, especially for Impact, who's been taking a beating up on that top side. Definitely wants to make use of that regeneration.
Yeah.
Later on, it can also help Singed a lot for proxying because the minions won't take off that regeneration, and he can keep his distance from champions.
Yeah, and he's all over that regeneration. He has the Corrupting Potion. He has 2 Dark Seals already to make sure he has that extra healing from the potions. And we have a lane swap here coming through for 100 Thieves. Because they have a wave crashing bottom, they get to do another thing with this slow push and go try to make a power play.
Exactly. We have a bit of a pendulum here as the power swings back to 100 Thieves on the top side. Meteos never left after counter jungling up there.
Nobody can help Impact here. It's a 1v4 under turret.
Meteos has everything available here on the Skarner. The damage coming in, the dive going through. Impact flashing away, still looking to maybe survive. Cody Sun with the damage! And first blood to 100 Thieves.
Cody Sun finishes that off. 100 Thieves make the first move, and they are rewarded for it. Turret also going to fall. Bonus gold available.
Yeah, that turret is going down so quickly as well. And you see Smithy's on the top side of the map. He's not going to help on the bottom.
And we saw 100 Thieves go to full 5 games in the semifinals. What was it that brought this team to come out with the victory over Clutch Gaming? The macro, the shot calls, making that extra element come through, and that's what they're doing here.
The element of surprise is always something that you can leverage. It'll get you a win. It'll get you a large advantage, because if they aren't expecting it the first time, it'll definitely catch them off guard. And that's TL going to have to kind of harden up and realize a lot of things can happen when the bottom lane backs. They could be anywhere.
It's always nice to see a team that's in a bad situation react with a proactive move. Cody Sun and Aframu were getting denied CS on bottom side. Doublelift was able to accrue and hold a decent CS lead, but they make the first move. They swap out of the bad situation. They get the first blood, they get the first turret, and they've got something back for themselves.
And even though that turret count was evened up by Liquid shortly thereafter, the bonus gold from being the first ones to the trigger pull means that 100 Thieves still has about a 1,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and that gold is spread out. It's not on just Cody Sun. He got that first blood, but he didn't get the first turret by himself. There were about 2 other people alongside him, so it was split up as opposed to just that 650 on a single guy.
And when we see plays like this, and action is now starting in this game, You have to keep in mind the overall team comps and the goals of these teams. Doublelift and Pobelt are still trying to scale up on that Caitlyn and Azir for the deadly late game team fighting. We have some extra components here around mid lane that we're looking at options, but nobody takes the aggressive look.
And there's been no swap back here from 100 Thieves to try and pressure that bottom turret. So Rift Herald is what you would expect to be in the future here for them. As TL, they notice there's a neutral objective up top, not on the bottom side, and they'll swap themselves up and try to match, once again, Cody Sun versus this Doublelift Caitlyn.
Well, we did get to see Team Liquid take the first neutral objective of the game. The next Drake that's going to be spawning is that high-value Infernal Drake. We'll likely see both teams concerned and contesting that as well. Rift Herald alive means this top half of the map could get very spicy very soon. Meteos moving around, taking advantage of the fact that Skarner is adept at soloing these objectives because of his spammable shield, his high damage output with the continued Qs.
They're trying to force
see if Liquid can move in time to stop this. Rift Herald,
they don't have Azir though.
1/3.
Teleport is going in. They're going to go for it.
All right, Ole going to be the one soaking the damage here on the front line. Aframu backing himself away now as well. Ornn ulti comes through, but now the suppression down onto the TP. Impact going to find himself here in the middle of the fight. Cody Sun caught off to the side, having to jump away. Meteos goes back over the wall. Team Liquid still looking to make something happen onto Someday as Pobelter shuffles Ryu back into the river. Someday still running away. Pobelter in some danger. Multiple health bars all over the place going low, and Liquid finds a kill. 100 Thieves with nothing in response.
A fight that started off by TL with a numbers disadvantage. They end up being the ones who get the kill.
100 Thieves, yeah, they're the ones who had the first start on that teleport, and they start the fight. But in the end, Team Liquid are going to get the kill onto Someday. They're going to get the push under the turret afterwards as well. And that is a huge momentum swing.
What is Shelly doing?
She's chilling, dude.
Shelly's stuck in the river, by the way. I'm not really sure.
She's as confused about that fight as we are. We're going to have to take another look at that one in a second here, because 100 Thieves have the TP coming in. It's a 5v4. Pobelter is in the mid lane, still running up. As this starts, they survive for long enough. He is so far away.
Yeah, if you look at the top of the mini-map there, they had the Ornn teleport coming in. Someday cuts off most of Team Liquid, but then they just charge right into the fight and actually break the fight here before Pobelter even made his roam over. But then you have a couple questions about what Pobelter is doing over on this side, because he's got 3 members tangled up. Aframu in the end gets him out of there, and during that whole time, Team Liquid were focusing down Someday for the kill.
And we praised 100 Thieves a few minutes ago for being able to find the opportunity to make a proactive play when they were behind and get themselves into a spot where they were in the driver's seat. But Liquid, when it comes down to that micro level of calls, when it comes down to properly navigating the fights, you saw right there how adept these players are at making that happen.
Exactly. Figured out the fight finally. Shelly can now return back to her home, back in the pit. So everything is settled, but 100 Thieves, that was a play that they thought would go their way, and it absolutely did not at the end there. TL able to kind of flank you around it, and now you have to go back to this dragon coming up.
Yeah, we got to keep on looking forward here. The Infernal Drake spawning now, and you have to take into account everybody walking over from the mid lane. Still going to take a while for the DPS to arrive from Team Liquid right now. They are in Fog of War, though.
Aframu is going to be the one who takes the first bit of the aggro. Remember, he does have the ability to become very tanky. Impact now on the front line, going to be looking for some more. Braum ulti comes down. Suppression goes through. Impact going to be taken over. Cody is lower. Flashing over the wall, trying to stay alive. 1 for 1 so far, making it 1 for 2. Team Liquid coming out on top and winning the rights to the Drake.
Yep, they're going to start up the Infernal immediately afterwards. The ping does go down on the top side. As you can see, though, the minions were pushing for 100 Thieves.
Minions pushing for the Thieves, but it's Liquid that grabs that all-important Infernal Drake. Another big neutral objective going through for them. And 100 Thieves really got to be careful about how they're playing these fights.
Exactly. These team fights going the way of Liquid just barely. It's ever so slightly here. Watch this. It starts off with Liquid getting the jump. They flip Aframu in, but then Ole's ultimate ends up hitting Cody Sun here. Xmithie throws his own into that thick of the fight, and they are just chunking Cody meanwhile, and Impact gets the finish with the poison.
This is 2 back-to-back fights now. Meteos' pull has been used on Impact, and it hasn't resulted in a kill. If Skarner's not pulling somebody to their doom, the team fight's likely not going to go too far in your favor.
That kill on a Cody Sun was actually so close because Impact was chugging his corrupting potion. The extra damage was able to finish him off there.
And you can see he's gone for the Rylai's Crystal Scepter here. The Righteous Glory was something we talked about before. This is more, once he's in the fight, slow people down, slow down Cody Sun, wreak havoc, and just run around in these fights like we saw there, where he's another kind of diver that you always have to think about as a backliner. If you're playing front to back, you really have to watch out for this guy because he will displace you. He'll throw you towards his Caitlyn or Azir that are doing massive amounts of damage, and it really does affect these battle lines.
As we move more into the mid game now, that has to be not only on the mind of Cody, but on the mind of everyone in 100 Thieves. You've got an Ornn, you've got a Skarner, you've got this Alistar that should be keeping that Tristana and that Ryze safe. But if Impact is able to just go through there and find his way to them every single time, it's not going to work.
And it buys space for Doublelift, who has a large CS lead right now. He's the most gold in the game.
Yeah, there's definitely a concentration of gold there because of the extra CS. Rift Herald now started up by Team Liquid. They just continue, force objective after objective. They're trying to push it.
There's no TPs either, so these bottom laners cannot join right now if they wanted to. And you saw Impact had priority. He's already in Fog of War.
Rift Herald goes the way of Team Liquid. That is 3 for 3 neutral objectives under their belts. A 2-1 team objective lead in terms of those turrets. They are currently owning everything about this map. We'll see what they can turn that Rift Herald into here. They've got control over the mid lane. That turret's still standing pretty strong.
Yeah, the last outer here is the mid lane. That would definitely be the next target. There's a lot of defensive vision you can see from 100 Thieves that they've kind of been pushed back into their own territory, and all these control wards used to try and stop invades, but that has just meant that Team Liquid continually forcing these outer turrets, these outer objectives in the Dragons as well as the Rift Herald. Meteos is on a ward bottom side for this attempt.
Yeah, Meteos has been pretty hamstrung this game. Impact has kind of had his number with wards, also stopping him from kind of getting around in their own jungle unawares, but Meteos hasn't been able to do too much, especially in these fights too. Like you were saying, Captain Flowers, those poles have to have a large impact on them, and it just hasn't been there quite yet. We are seeing, though, the Banner of Command here for Someday come out, and it looks like, yeah, Abyssal Mask next. So he's got a lot of MR for himself. He's got ways to kind of deal with this push here, where if he were to get proxied, he could just lay down that cannon minion with a buff and make sure that Impact can't clear it out with Singed.
And one thing you are seeing, though, because Meteos hasn't been able to get the pulls onto one of the two value targets of Team Liquid, neither one of those carries really feels the need to pay the Skarner tax yet. Sometimes against these suppression champions, you will see the QSS come out very early, but right now there's no concern about that for either Pobelter or Doublelift.
Exactly. It's so hard to get to them because you have two of those Freljord champions, let's say Sejuani and the Braum for stuns and slows, and then you have the Singed on top of it. So Skarner, it's a difficult task to get to a backline.
There are plenty of forms of initiation, though, available. And we're also going to have to keep our eyes on Ole this Braum, the Unbreakable. So often we see supports forgetting about the Ornn ultimates, using the Unbreakable for something else, and not having that for the team fight. If an Ornn ultimate comes through and sticks up the whole team, it makes the other members' jobs that much more easy, and Meteos can get one of those pulls.
Yeah, you have to kind of force out that Unbreakable before you throw out that ultimate. So Someday's kind of secondary engage, and you're relying on somebody like Aphromoo or Meteos to really start these fights.
See Ryu pushing up the top side here, just trying to get more map control, more map priority, shove this lane up, make Pobelter answer that. He'll summon up that special Sun Disc to help him defend that, but Impact, no fear this game, just continually causing that pressure in the side lane, pushing this up here as well.
And they're waiting for an opportunity to use that Rift Herald from McSmithy. He still has that, remember, and that could reward them with a turret here. And especially with Baron in 45 seconds, more priority means more likelihood that you're able to get that objective.
And right now, where 100 Thieves would want to make a counter move would possibly be when Team Liquid are spread out with Pobelter very far away. Because their advantage in mobility is in the Ryze on the side lane versus an Azir in the side lane. You can see Pobelter there just roamed up to answer a minion wave, but during that timeline, Team Liquid cover the weakness. They have Impact join the rest of the squad for disengage, so they're not allowing the opening that 100 Thieves would want to try and take advantage of, and here comes the Rift Herald activation in order to get the mid turret.
Yeah, remember, she takes off that backdoor bonus, so they're treating her like a minion. They're going to run out with her as 5 members strong in the mid lane for TL to crack that mid turret.
Rift Herald taking down the mid turret creates a pathway for Liquid to now rotate into another objective. The Drake spawning here in 20 seconds, the Baron just now going live. Liquid decides it's time to reset and be ready for those.
Again, especially when watching both of these two teams, it's so much about the preparation for these plays. Impact was just pushing on the bottom side, with his Rylai's Crystal Scepter. They prep that wave, then move up for the Rift Herald activation. They have now timed their recalls so that they can get back out onto the field in time for that Drake. Heading through, again, there's no deep vision for 100 Thieves, so Team Liquid get there just in time.
Coming into the discussion on this game, talked about how neither of these teams wins explosively early when we heard win conditions from the desk and kind of how that's going to be played out. So you don't expect either of these two to really get off to one of those crazy starts where they're just running over the entirety of the game. But now as we crest the 20-minute mark, as we get further in, we're going to start to see these two settle onto what the tempo of the game will look like from here on out, potentially.
And both of these teams have had intelligent macro moves at different points in this game. You know, Team Liquid leveraged the early power of Double Lift on this Caitlyn in the huge CS lead, but 100 Thieves then went for the first blood, the first turret with their swap. Ever since then, though, Team Liquid have been on every single objective.
And looking forward, 100 Thieves, they have a 1-3-1 composition. So the macro for them is something they're going to have to tap into here. And like you were saying, Kobe, when Pobelter's in a side lane trying to answer the rise, that's a large advantage for them. So 100 Thieves are looking to kind of pull apart the Team Liquid composition with a 1-3-1 when they can. But TL, they're really good in team fights. They have these two big hyper carries with the Azir and the Caitlyn, and right now, Double Lift even has a Zeke's Convergence behind him to amp his damage.
And the difference of the completed Infinity Edge is huge on him because of the CS lead that they had from the early game. Right now is a big power spike for the Caitlyn.
Yeah, when you look at the items completed on the side of Team Liquid, you've got your Nashor's Tooth, plus the Haunting guys there for Pobelter. Double Lift having those two crit synergy items like you were already mentioning with the Caitlyn. This team's at a point where they're very scary in a team fight.
Cody says, he finished his. I want mine
I gotta
now.
do mine.
He's able to go get his, and the Infinity Edge is now completed. But they already started the push.
And you can see Impact on the side threatening, forcing Cody Sun to play more towards the north here and away from him.
Push
and there's an
through,
engage.
but there you go. Immediately shutting it down with the Unbreakable 100 Thieves. Looking to isolate something here, maybe go after Impact yet again, but they're not going to use the Skarner ulti on that Singe. They've learned their lesson from the previous fights.
That's why, like Zyrene was saying, the order of your initiation tools is very important for the 100 Thieves. They have to do something to try and get Olay to blow that spell before Ornn ult is used, or use it in an area where he can't easily take it out. Otherwise, get it put to a stop very quickly.
Yeah, you could see the thought process there. Ryu was coming in from the side to potentially root. Afromoo looked like he was about to walk up, but got slowed, and they grab Sejuani, they grab it Smithy.
Meteos decides this is the pull, this is the play, this is the initiation, and they find the enemy jungler.
And again, Afromoo and Meteos, they have had so many combinations this year. This time, he pulls them into the tower range for the headbutt further in to the tower, and they get the kill onto the front line.
And I like how he headbutts him, then flashes and Qs, because if you headbutt Q, they aren't going to go as far. Wants him really deep under that turret.
And there's no escape for him after that. So an important kill on the jungler, and now 100 Thieves are trying to move out and regain some of the vision control, which they'll use to try and set up.
It's not just about the kill, it's about what the kill means. What can you get? What do you translate this into in terms of your standing on the map? These teams only 500 gold apart now, means every little advantage you can find is going to be huge. Afromoo eats some damage there, getting down some wards in Liquid territory.
Exactly. I mean, everyone always talks about the Caitlyn scaling among AD carries, but Tristana, no joke, and the range is also getting up there as well. So here's another look at it. Meteos with the pull, Afromoo with the follow-up right there, and they get the dunk.
No way out of some chain CC like that between Skarner and Alistar. As long as they layer it correctly, you're going to be stuck there a while.
Yeah, the idea there from McSmithy looked like he was going to walk through mid because he saw one of the members of 100 Thieves in about that midpoint near that tier 1 turret. Potential flank, potential setup, but they caught him red-handed looking for that.
Always nice to see those two veterans working together on this new squad. Right now, though, fighting over the control wards. That's something we've seen quite a few supports lose their lives over.
And Ornn is flanking right now, and they see Pobelter top. This is the opportunity.
Here it comes. Ornn going through, able to find a little bit of control through that one. Devil's going to be in some trouble. Knocked up into the air. Damage coming through. Devil taken down. And Cody Sun delivers the kill shot. What else can the Thieves find, though? Right now, they'll move towards Baron.
That was amazing from Someday, just sniping Double Lift right there on the side. They're able to get the knockups. Cody Sun doesn't hesitate to jump right in, and they get the kill. Baron is started up.
Talking about no hesitation, this is the kind of play this team wants to make. They're going for Baron. They've got it down to half. Afromoo coming around from the side, the shuffle backwards, looking to disengage, and the suppression comes through, and Pobelter is dragged down. Team Liquid stands 3 versus 5, and 100 Thieves head right back into the pit.
They still have to worry about Xmithie smiting this. They don't have vision just yet. Ole is trying to get some here.
Baron 1/4 HP, very, very low. Xmithie wanting to go over the wall.
Oh,
He's got it! Xmithie with the steal!
Oh my god, and he gets out! Cody's chasing him, but it's actually Team Liquid who steal from the 100 Thieves!
What a play from the veteran jungler of Team Liquid. The laugh that you hear from Impact Singed is the laugh that Liquid is feeling after that one. That is how you save a disaster.
Watch Afro move. He's not able to headbutt him because he's grounded by Impact's acid. He throws down the mega adhesive, so you can't headbutt during that time.
What a play right there. Barry heads up. They're able to make it happen. Xmithie, after all that, also is able to time the smite. And Baron now for Team Liquid.
And you saw the look on Meteos' face there as now 100 Thieves might be able to find the pick that keeps this Baron play at bay. Cody's son has the damage to pick Ole off there, and that is big for slowing this down.
100 Thieves do not give up. They continue to force plays here, and now they're back at it.
100 Thieves once again in the driver's seat. Orno comes through.
Belter
Knocked up into the air, having to flash away, keeping himself alive. Afro taken down. Double's got the damage. He's out of there. And Liquid responds.
Xmithie gonna get the slows here onto Someday. Will they chase him down? Impact coming through.
Cody Sun's at half HP for this fight. 100 Thieves needs to be very mindful of that. Liquid still looking to maybe find their opportunity. Impact on the side.
And they still have the Baron buff, so they still have so many options.
Yeah, now they're going to be able to go straight towards that Ocean Drake. They got the mid priority, and now they have all 5 members back up. Ole is on his way.
Yep, Double Lefty just pushed that mid lane minion wave. They get the objective, and now they can switch back.
4 for 4 elemental drakes for Team Liquid. You talk about win conditions. 35 minutes rolls around. That could be a big one. Let's take another look at the pick potentially onto Pro Belter.
Afro move goes in, but it's the cleanse flash there, and he also gets his ultimate off after he gets chunked for about half his HP.
Pro Belter with another escape here on the Azir. And they're able to salvage a couple of Baron buffs still alive for themselves as well.
But they get triple Ocean. This means they can stay out on the map. And when you're baiting Barons back and forth, this is actually such a great buff to have.
Fantastic buff to have for these guys. They're still up 1,000 gold, 80 carries. We talked about how important both these guys are for their teams. They're both at that 3-item power spike these champions are known for. And Team Liquid sets up the line. They make the siege. They take the tier 2. They've got 55 seconds left to pressure onto the inhibitor turrets.
Now watch on the outside for the trap line here, as well as the mega adhesive to try and deny the engagement from 100 Thieves.
Meteos, no flash available on this Skarner. Does have Predator up. Yeah. No Righteous Glory in the build this time around. Went for Knight's Vow instead.
And there's no dematerializers, so this cannon minion is just actually, they're trying to get aggro. You see it's hitting Meteos right now, and he's happy with that because it's not hitting the turret. But now the next wave shows up, and they're just going to knock this inhibitor turret down at 28.5 minutes.
Cannon minion MVP. Now Team Liquid, still 20 seconds left on the Baron buff. Moves themselves into position onto the inhibitor. Managing to go for the throw. Trying to get Someday there into the middle. They pick him off. Meteos through the side. Now going to be isolated himself. Taken down. And Team Liquid could win right here. A double kill for Double Lift.
Pro Belter sweeps in Cody's son, and they take down the AD carry, and they're still pushing.
Yeah, they had the Baron buff. They have the Baron buffed up minion. It just falls off the cannon. There they go.
Everybody's ready to go. The TP used to keep the minion alive. Nexus turret number 1 under fire. It is taken down. They're still looking to force the fight. 5 versus 2. Reeves looking to hold on, but cannot do it. The Thieves are out, and Liquid will take game number 1. What an incredible push off of an even more incredible Baron steal.
29.5 minutes in. Team Liquid will go up 1-0.
And off of an incredible team play performance around objectives, the team fighting came up key. That looked like a 100 Thieves Baron guaranteed. But